News has reported that Saudi Aramco IPO took place in December 2019, rising $25.6 billion and making it one of the largest IPOs in history for the most recent development or additional offering.
A vast trackless desert.
Saudi Aramco actually started as an American company.
Roadless, almost unknown, unmapped.
In 1933, a concession agreement was signed between Saudi Arabia and the Standard Oil Company of California, which is now Chevron, to allow the Americans to start prospecting. California Arabian Standard Oil was born. But it wasn't until 1938 in Dhahran that they actually found enough oil to drill in commercial quantities at Dammam Well No. 7, which became known as Prosperity Well. In 1949, crude oil production had hit 500,000 barrels per day, and the scale of the kingdom's potential riches was becoming apparent. Oil prices spiked at the peak of the Arab oil embargo in 1973. With tensions growing between OPEC countries and the US, the Saudi government acquired 25% more of Aramco, increasing its stake to 60%, making them the majority shareholder. By 1980, it had completed its nationalisation, but the headquarters remained in Delaware. It wasn't until '88 that operations were fully moved to the kingdom, and it changed its name once again to the Saudi Arabian Oil Company, or Saudi Aramco.
Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has long championed a vision of transforming the kingdom's economy. A key element of this vision is the potential privatization and public listing of Aramco, the world's largest oil economy. But should this historic move proceed?
What is your views about the decision to privatize Aramco?
The privatization of Aramco is actually a cornerstone of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. Selling a stake in Aramco could raise substantial revenue, which would be invested in other sectors and infrastructure projects. This is the Saudi Arabian government initiative to diversify the Saudi economy and reduce its dependence on oil revenues.
Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, a royal transformation. Saudi Arabia is about to make Dubai's iconic landmarks look like mother-child's play, and there's nothing Dubai can do to stop it. With its thriving tourism industry and extravagant attractions, Dubai has long been the playground for millionaires and record-breaking achievements. But all that is about to change.
What is Vision 2030 exactly? Could you please elaborate?
The Vision 2030 actually seeks to transform the Saudi economy by investing in various sectors, including technology, tourism, and renewable energy. This strategic framework aims to position Saudi Arabia as a global leader in various sectors. Vision 2030 is about transforming Saudi Arabia into a more diversified economy. The funds raised from Aramco's IPO were earmarked for non-oil sectors, like the sectors that I just mentioned, driving the kingdom towards a more sustainable future.
The Aramco IPO was not just a financial event, it was a strategic move deeply rooted in Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman envisioned a future where the kingdom would no longer rely solely on oil revenues. The IPO was a critical step in this vision, aiming to raise funds for the kingdom's diversification projects.
Can you please tell us more about the Aramco IPOs?
So Aramco IPO officially launched on December 11, 2019, which is making a historic moment in the financial world, whereas the company sold 1.5% of its share to the public, valuing the company at 1.7 trillion USD, which made the most valuable publicly traded company at the time. And IPO also the key part of Saudi Arabia Vision 2030, where to diversify its company away from oil dependence. Also, I want to press on it, whereas IPO was not just the rising capital, it was a signal to the world that Saudi Arabia is opening up its economy to global investors. and also its valuation for the attention of investors worldwide, making it one of the most talked about IPOs in the recent history.
So listing Aramco will offer transparency and potentially increase the company's market valuation. However, the timing is crucial. All markets are volatile and the public's perceptions of Aramco's valuation could be influenced by the geopolitical tensions and fluctuating oil prices.
The idea was to raise money by selling 5% of this company to investors in order to bolster the country's finances. Now, back then, the oil price traded at half today's $62 per barrel price. No surprise that Saudi Arabia wanted as high a valuation as possible. Unfortunately, the kingdom's valuation expectations for Saudi Aramco were just too high. The Crown Prince, known as MBS, thought $2 trillion was the right amount, well before any banking advisors had been hired. Lex, after doing some financial modeling back in 2017, now thinks the valuation should be closer to $1.2 trillion. Now, most other analysts also believe the Saudi valuation to be pricey, including their own global advisors for the IPO.
If 5% was targeted, why was only 1.5% offered in the IPO?
So one of the main reasons was to strike a balance between raising capital and maintaining control. By selling just a small fraction of Aramco, we could still raise significant funds while ensuring the company remains firmly under Saudi control. And the decision also allowed us to test the waters of the global financial markets.
Why did it take so long for Aramco IPOs to be released?
So there was a huge delay due to the valuation, and as there's many disagreements over that. The Saudi government aimed for a 2 trillion valuation, but too many investors thought this was too high. Because of the oil prices going up and down, Aramco settled the valuation at 1.7 trillion. Companies like Aramco depend on the oil price to get their value, so the best timing for an IPO is when the oil price is high.
Why was Tadawul chosen as the listing exchange?
Tadawul was chosen to strengthen the local stock market and ensure that Saudis will benefit directly from the IPO. And listing locally is also aligned with our broader goals, which is under Vision 2030.
Aramco value is deeply tied to a global oil price. While a public listing could enhance financial transparency, it also exposed the company to market fluctuations.
A public listing could provide the Saudi government with the liquidity needed for economic diversification. Yet, there are risks, including the loss of full control over a strategic national asset and potential market volatility.
Prince Mohammed bin Salman has emphasized the strategic importance of this move. In his own words, this IPO is not just about raising money, it's about positioning Saudi Arabia for a future beyond oil.
The rise of Prince Mohammed bin Salman changed all of that. The Crown Prince, also known as MBS, had a much more hands-on approach when it came to Aramco.
Tell us again exactly who this prince is.
His nickname is Mr. Everything, which is to say that he has basically been put in control of massive swaths of Saudi Arabia.
Why did you invest in Aramco?
Why not? It's a unique opportunity. The company has very strong track record of profitability, and the strategic importance to the global energy market makes it a solid investment.
What are your opinions on the future of Aramco as a public company?
Well, it's a good question. For me, I personally think that the future looks promising. However, for sure there are some challenges, including the global push towards renewable energy. The company will need to adapt to those changes, and I believe that provided with their strong financial strength, they are able to provide with solid foundation to navigate the future challenges.
Why was the decision to approve the IPO made, and what risks were considered?
Well, the decision to approve the IPO was actually based on Aramco's strategic importance and the potential benefits to the Saudi economy. However, we have also considered risks like market volatility, geopolitical tension, and the long-term demand for oil.
How about listing on the Tadawul? Were there any risks?
Well, it's a bit interesting because listing on Tadawul poses certain risks,
including limited global investor access and liquidity compared to major international exchanges. But there's always a but. The benefits of strengthening the local market outweigh these concerns. So we thought about the costs and benefits.
Considering all the allegations against MBS about Jamal Khashoggi murder and involvement in Yemen, do you personally think it was the right time to release IPOs?
Are we done here?
What impact has the IPO had so far?
So actually the IPO has brought more attention to Saudi Arabia economic reform and has provided a significant boost to the local market. So it's also encouraged other companies in the region to consider going public.
Has the IPO met expectations and was it the best timing?
So actually the IPO has largely met expectation in terms of capital raise, but the timing was challenging due to the fluctuating oil prices and global economic uncertainty. However, it was necessary to meet the target set under the Vision 2030.
What challenges lie ahead for Aramco as a public company?
So actually Aramco will face challenges such as managing public expectation, diversifying its revenue stream and addressing environmental concern. So actually the company will need to innovate and adapt to remain competitive in a rapidly changing energy landscape.